Hello there. Today I wanted to break down with you the child's pose. This pose is really great and you get to work your ankle mobility. You can work also your hip mobility depending on what kind of variation you use, and you can also get a wonderful stretch in your back. So let's look in what all the options there are for you in your child's pose. You would need to grab yourself a block. If you don't have a block, don't hesitate to use a hardcover book, thick book. And then pillow is entirely optional, but it's going to be really nice, I can tell you. And then get yourself blankets. A blanket or a towel, and grab yourself, if you can get 2, maybe even 3. Just grab 2 or 3 blankets or towels if you can, maybe a pillow as well, and also something comfy to wear, and meet me on the mat. So in child's pose, you have 2 different options how to position your knees. The moment you bring your knees more together, your torso will fold directly over your thighs, and you will by default have more round in your back. So if you're aiming for stretching your back, bring your knees more together and you will see and you feel that roundedness in your back. So that's the first variation, how you can use your child's pose. Now, if you want to work a little bit more on your hips, your hip mobility in external rotation, bring your knees a little bit wider apart and then fold your torso over, like so, forehead to the mat. You can always choose whether you want arms alongside of your body or arms in front of you. But in this variation with the knees wider apart, your torso has the possibility to kind of sink deeper and somewhat in between your thighs, which is basically forcing your hips to work a little bit more in this variation. So these are the 2 positions of your knees. Now, what about your arms? You can always have your arms alongside of your body. And this one I honestly prefer whenever I feel that my shoulders are super sore. I feel that I get a nicer release here with my arms alongside of my body, and then the shoulders are dropping heavier here. Or you can always stretch your arms in front of you and relax your arms there. So these are the 2 options that you have with your arms. Now let's look into all the possible modifications that you actually can do in the child's pose to make it actually comfortable for yourself. Because honestly, sometimes holding the pose for a long time, which sometimes we like to do because we think it's so relaxing, but not for everybody. So let me share with you a few tips what to do, how to make the pose actually comfortable and actually possible for you to relax in. First off, where you might actually feel any complaints, your ankles. Because honestly, sitting or being folded over with your ankles and tops of your feet completely flat on the floor like this might not feel great if you're there for 1 to 5 minutes straight. So what do? Blanket or a towel. Roll it, fold it, place it underneath your ankles. Bam. And you have much better support and your ankles are going to be complaining less. And from here, you choose knees together for more roundedness in your back, if that's what you want to work on, stretching your back, or knees wider apart if you do want to be working a little bit more on your hips. And then keeping your hips on your heels, folding over, forehead to the mat, and you choose where you want to bring your arms. So this is one option. Then the next option. Maybe your knees are complaining when you're staying in this position for too long. Knees on the floor, sometimes the mat is not as soft as you would like it to be. Make the surface softer and bring yourself another blanket or another towel. Fold it as many times as you feel like you need or you want, and pad your knees. So this is how you can make your knees more comfortable in this position. And again, you choose knees a little wider, knees together or a little wider apart. Fold over, forehead to the floor, arms in front of you or arms alongside of your body. Again, your choice. Next, maybe either when you fold forward, your forehead doesn't touch the floor. Or for you to touch the floor with your forehead, your hips would need to lift off the floor. And yes, I understand there's nothing relaxing about staying in a position where your thighs are actually holding the whole position, your neck is completely getting crashed. Not fun. So that's where you would use your yoga block or any book, anything that you can actually support your forehead with. You need to keep your hips anchored on your heels, and then you fold forward, and wherever you feel that you need the support underneath your forehead, that's where you bring the block or the book at that height that you need. So adapt the support so that it fits your need, the height of the support that you need. And hello. So this is how you can actually make sure that your hips stay on your heels and you still can relax your forehead onto something. Dropping your hips heavy, dropping your forehead heavy, and again, knees together for a little bit more stretch in your back, knees wider apart for a little bit more work in your hips, and you're choosing again your arms alongside of your body or arms in front of you, depending what feels nicer in your shoulders. And now is the time to show you what about the pillow. This is like a full supported child's pose, and I love it. And it's wonderful if you need to stretch your back. So, hips onto your heels, knees together this time, pillow onto your thighs, and then you lean forward with your torso over that pillow, forehead either to the floor if you reach, or again to any kind of support underneath, whether that's the block or a book or anything that lifts or brings the floor closer towards your forehead. And then here, once again, you relax your arms along the side of your body or arms in front of you. You choose what works. And here you can rest for several breaths, finding a nice stretch in your back. Oh my gosh, I could stay here for minutes and minutes on end. So these are all the possible modifications that you can make to your child's pose to make the child's pose comfortable. Whichever variation works for you, whether knees together or wider apart, depending what you need to work more, whether your hips or your back. Whichever variation of the positioning of your arms, again, whatever works better for your shoulders. But in between those, you can always play with all these paddings and all the support to just make it easier, nicer, more comfy, more relaxing for yourself. What is important in child's pose is to keep your hips heavy, and then on the other side, the forehead, the head heavy. And that is what gets the work done. And that's why it's important for you to be able to relax in your child's pose. So that's why to use the props. Try it out. Pad your ankles, knees, bring the bring the pillow in if you want to, if you have it. And then join me for 5 to 10 big breaths in your variation, in your modification of your child's pose. Hips heavy on your heels. Forehead heavy on the support underneath. And then breathe deep. Inhale into your belly, into your chest. Exhale really slow. Inhale, maybe all the way to your back, to your belly, to your chest. And then exhale. And then a few more deep breaths on your own. Allowing with every exhale, your hips to drop heavier, your head to drop heavier, your shoulders to drop heavier. At your own time, whenever ready, next inhale, you can stretch your arms in front of you, press the palms into the floor, lift the forehead, and gently you can walk yourself up, seated again. So, which modification of child's pose works for you the best? Let me know. Thank you for joining in for this one, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next.